learn what you have learned.
Welcome to a brand new video of the Target Individual Program, Target Individual Experience. So, I wanted to do um, a presentation type video, but I'll save that for the next video. This morning I woke up pretty early. I went to bed minutes to 1 after getting home. Had something to eat. Of course, they continue with the remote monitoring and the in-home surveillance using, again, car honking and police sirens, right? As I said, car honking, right? And, I was gathering some information, which I'm going to share part of it here as I do this video. This video is not going to be a long video, right? But I'm going to show you guys, give you some a real example, I should say, of how silent sound is being used, basically to control anyone, and people, again, have no idea. Now, I don't know how is it that I came upon this video, but it's a news coverage of the main shooter, right? That they found his body in a dumpster of an apparent, as they say, self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, how did he end up in the dumpster? I mean, did he climb into the dumpster and shoot himself? And if he did, how come nobody called about hearing gunshot or hearing a gunshot? Right? So, again, also, last night, they were sending me subliminal message about, body in the trunk. So I don't know, maybe I interpreted it that way, or maybe it was because, again, I believe now that the main shooter, again, was another victim of mind control experiments. And again, they did not want him speaking, right? Because remember, when they first started reporting on this guy, they said that he was in the army and that recently he started to say that he were hearing voices. Okay? And so it's no surprise to me that, he would not survive this, particularly his background. Okay? And the fact, like I said, that they found his body in a dumpster. And, last night, like I said, they keep sending me subliminal message every time the word body is said. And I think I was watching maybe I think it was a commercial for a movie or something like that. And they were like, there's a dead body in the trunk, not dumpster. There's a dead body in the trunk. And, they were using right? So, yeah. Again, when they're trying to hide what it is that they've been doing, this is what happened. Okay? So let me start the not presentation, but the reading from Mind Control Using Psychotronics. Right? This is from the International Journal of Advanced Research. This was volume 1, issue 1, January 2013. Okay? So, you know what? I just noticed this. So the name Kumar, this is Pamela's ex-lover's name. Lately, I have been, well, not lately, but in the past, what they were doing, they would send mails to her house, right? With the name, not the first name of of her ex lover, but the last name. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want people going and looking up this guy or what have you, you know. But they were doing that. They were, I would get the mail, and it would have the last name of this person, right? But I knew what was happening. I knew what was happening. I knew what they were doing, okay, and trying to manipulate her, okay, and to further drive a wedge between me and her, like trying to cause extreme jealousy within me or what have you. And it didn't work. And then all of a sudden they stopped, right? Then here at my house, so I used to be in regular contact with targeted individuals from California. Her name is Alda Misteriosa. That's her YouTube name, right? And they would manipulate us to trigger each other. And it got to a point where in the beginning it was very, very tough. It was tough on her, right? Very tough on her. I mean, she would curse, scream at me, and then we stopped talking for about 2 years, and then she reached back out to me, and then we started talking, and then all of a sudden, even though we were talking for a longer period, but she still couldn't, and she was very, I guess, disturbed by my relationship with Pam. She was telling me that, listen, she's just, using you and such and such. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But as I was like, I have kids with her, and, that my kids' well-being is important to me, So I remember when I had a issue of bed bugs, and, I would go to sleep, but I would have these, and I still have them. I still have, it's not as severe as it used to be, but it's still there. And every few months I have to fog out my bedroom. I would fog out Pam's apartment while the kids are in school and she's at work. So I would fog it out every couple months. All right. And I would go to sleep, but I would have these these spray bottles of alcohol, right? 99% isopropyl alcohol. So I'm like spraying my bed. I wake up in the night, spraying my bed, spraying my clothes. And then she says to me, she was like, to try to make it seem as if I was imagining things, and I know she meant well. She was like, I'm very concerned because, alcohol is not good to breathe, constantly. And I said, well, it's not constantly. It's just that, when I go to sleep at night. And she said, are you sure, that that you're actually seeing the bed bugs and feeling the bite, And I was like, huh? I said, yes, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure. I said, I sent her pictures of it, and then I never heard back from her again. So I haven't heard from her since. And this happened about, I would say, probably, trying to remember here, maybe a year ago. So it's like, wow, we haven't spoken in like about a year. But I know she's dealing with her own things, and I know that wasn't her. And I keep telling her, I said, listen, I don't get offended when you get upset or what have you, because I know what it is that they're doing. I know how they manipulate us against each other, how they, trigger us into this negative emotional state. And, so I don't have a problem with her at all, hopefully she will get a little stronger in terms of dealing with what it is that's been done, and reach back out to me again, with a little bit more knowledge and understanding of how we are being used to trigger each other because, again, of how we are programmed, right? And I keep saying it's programming. It's programming the human mind. All right. So abstract. This paper deals with the mind control using psychotronics as a directed energy weapon and its relevant usage in human life in present day. These devices work on the principle of squad SSSS, right? So that's silent sound spread spectrum, or EM wave. We are very thankful to Professor Sanasu Ray for his timeless support and his lucid way of explaining us the salient point. Really helped us to write this paper. Keywords: neural code, psychotronics, directed energy weapons, silent sound spread spectrum, non-lethal weapon, brain wave machine. Introduction. Humans have been using light and sound to achieve altered state of consciousness for thousands of years. Primitive cultures use flickering fires and rhythmic drumming to induce these altered states. Today, we can choose from a wide variety of electronic brainwave machines which use light and or sound to alter brainwave activity. Frequencies are, as I said, alter. Right? Frequencies are simultaneously transmitted to the brain of the subject in which the signals interfere with one another to yield a waveform which is modulated by the subject's brainwave. The interference waveform, which is representative of the brainwave activity, is retransmitted by the brain to a receiver where it is demodulated and amplified. The demodulated waveform is then displayed for visual viewing and routed to a computer for further processing and analysis. The neural code. Neural code is arguably the most important remaining scientific mystery. It is the software, sets of rules, syntax that, as I said, syntax a syntax that transforms electrical pulses in the brain into perceptions, memories, decisions. And decisions. I'll keep talking about how they try to create this false sense of choice or decision, right? Give us, so let me just stop here for a minute. So the decision they're trying to, when they use the police sirens, again, is using the police siren as a threat to say that if I continue speaking about my targeting, continue to show people what it is that they're doing, again, they'll use the police, right? Coercive persuasion programming. So they know exactly what it is that they're doing. But I am not going to stop speaking about what it is that they've done to me and others, and I will continue to record my targeting. So I guess I made my decision. Now you make yours. All right. And as I said that, fine. You know where I live. The solution to the neural code coding principle give us almost unlimited power over our psyches because we could monitor and manipulate the brain. Let me read this. Because we could monitor and manipulate brain cells with exquisite precision by speaking to them in their own language. And as I said, precision. The neural code is a dauntingly complex technical topic. So until recently, a complete decoding of the brain seems impossibly remote because researchers had limited means of probing the microcircuitry of living brain. But in the past decade, and as I said, circuitry of the living brain, and what they'll try to do now is that before I read certain words, they will do this. So again, coincide when I talk about this game that they play, first, second, third, or last, forward, behind, backwards, again, this is part of what they're doing also is called operant condition, right? By B.F. Skinner, the use of reward and punishment. But I'll get more detail into that and how it coincide with these mind control technology when I do that presentation. Okay. All right. Yeah. But just in the past decade, researchers. Okay, did I say it? All right. So when I was reading, I believe I said the past last decade, but the word last isn't in there because I'm rereading it and it's not there. But just in the past decade, researchers have begun crafting arrays of microelectrodes that can eavesdrop on hundreds and even thousands of separate neurons simultaneously, and they have acquired ever more powerful computers and algorithms for analyzing data. Formatting requirement is to use this document as a template and simply type your text into it. Psychotronics. Czech term for parapsychology. The term was first proposed with the analogy of bionics in mind to refer to the field dealing with construction of devices capable of enhancing and or reproducing certain SPI phenomena such as psychokinesis in the case of psychotronic generators. Psychotronic PSI weapons includes the study of how technology interacts with the human mind, spirit, and body. Okay? Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, that is called transhumanism. Okay? And esoteric studies are united through the study of psychotronics. Like psychotronics devices use radionic tuning to transmit brainwave into others' brains. Directed energy weapons, DEWs. A directed energy weapon, DEW, is a type of weapon that emits energy in an aim direction without the means of a projectile. It transfers energy to a target for the desired effect. Some of these weapons are real or in development. Below is a circuit diagram of a frequency generator that can generate the frequency in the range of working frequency of human brain. This is the part of directed energy weapons The energy can come from various forms. We will deal only with EMR and sound, SSSS. Non-oral carriers in the very low or very high audio frequency range or in the adjacent ultrasonic frequency spectrum are amplitude or frequency modulated with the desired intelligence and propagated acoustically or vibrationally for inducement into the brain. Typically through the use of loudspeakers, earphones, or piezoelectric transducers, recorded and stored on mechanical, magnetic, or optical media for delay or repeated transmission to the listener. Now, possibly using supercomputers to analyze human emotional EEG patterns and replicate them, then store these emotion signature clusters on another computer and at will silently induce and change the emotional state of a human being. The U.S. government, and we are not allowed to reveal the exact details system was used throughout Operation Desert Storm Iraq quite successfully and displayed a moving cluster of periodic brainwave signal. The illustration on the next slideshow of EEG displayed from a single individual. Okay. Uh, let's go here. Okay, um, so this is the example of an EEG, right? And they're showing you eyes closed. If you can see the frequency range, all right? This is at 11 hertz at 50 microvolts, all right? And then with the eyes open, I guess would be here. When you're in beta, 14 hertz at 10 microvolts. Okay, directly in real time, or maybe conveniently. All right, let's silent sound spectrum. Cloning the emotions. By using these computer enhanced EEGs, scientists can identify and isolate the brain low amplitude emotional signature clusters, synthesize them, and store them on another computer. In other words, by studying the subtle characteristics brainwave pattern that occur when a subject experiences a particular emotions, scientists have been able to identify the concomitant brainwave pattern and can now duplicate it. So last night I was doing my videos and I was talking about the emotional aspect of what it is that they're doing, right? And this is exactly what it is. So what they're able to do, okay, is to create, and I talk about within the black community, between black men and black women, also is to create emotionally sensitive men. And then with the women in our community is to create this non emotional feeling towards men based off of love, right? And not essentially love, but based off of a feeling of closeness. And they're now able to transfer those excitability within a woman's mind to social media, where they seek attention, where they're all about the dating life, strictly for getting attention. Nothing that is substantial in terms of forming lasting relationship or forming a bond with a partner, right? Now it's more transactional, right? There's an excitement in the transaction that happens, right? And then again, we talk about reward and punishment, right? So the excitability comes in the attention, right? And also in the pleasure, all right? This is why you see these women talk about, particularly in the black community, that body counts doesn't matter. They will, they are creating a next generations of women who think that it's perfectly okay to sleep with many different men. Okay. But what they're not being told, these women are not being told, is the danger, because you don't ever hear them talk about STDs, right? They don't talk about that. Okay. And there's a couple years ago, they did a study where they asked young women about condom use, and these women will tell you that they don't like having a condom used when they're having sex. And a lot of them during sex will actually take off the condom. Right? So again, it's something that's called stealthing, but it is again a condition mechanism, right? It is a conditioning of the mind that makes them do these things. And again, right, through silent sound. This is done through silent sound. This is done through silent sound. You don't believe me? I'm going to show you something. Like I said, I don't know how is it that, I guess, like I said, the ancestors have always tuning in and pushing me and pointing me in the right direction. Okay. So you have women and men, right, who are constantly passing STDs back and forth to each other, particularly in the black community. The government doesn't care because, again, when there is an outbreak of STDs in the black community, they will always use their narrative, which is to say, we don't have enough vaccine to treat this outbreak, particularly in the black community. But for some reason, they can always have vaccine, an abundance of vaccine, when you have poor white communities where you have an epidemic of STD infection. And yet, we as black people, we don't ever seem to look at those things and think about those things. Okay, so let me continue. Where was I? All right. So, silent sound spread spectrum, system delivery, and application. There is a lot more involved here than a simple subliminal sound system. There are numerous pattern technologies which can be piggybacked individually or collectively into a carrier frequency to elicit all kinds of effect. There appears to be two methods of delivery with the system. One is direct microwave induction into the brain of the subject, limited to short-range operations, and others as described above, utilizing ordinary radio and television carrier frequencies. Okay? So let me just step this here for a minute and let's talk about the what you call that system, in where the police would sit outside in their patrol vehicles and they will trick your cell phone into what they'll do is basically they'll duplicate your cell phone carrier signal, trick your cell phone into connecting to it's called the Stingray, into the Stingray signal, and they have access to your conversation. And they were doing this throughout the black community. Okay? They're not doing this in the white communities. They're doing this in the black communities. I was talking about black people. We are non-consensual human experiments victims, whether we want to believe it or not. All of us. Every single one of us. Okay? Because again, you don't see this stuff in the white community. Right? Now imagine if they were surveilling the white community like they do the black community. How many of these mass killings they could have stopped? But we know that, yeah, they surveil some of these racist online groups, right, that radicalize white men and white boys to commit acts of violence against other groups of people. And for the most part, they do nothing. They do nothing. Only when they want to come in as if they are the knight in shining armor in their white horses and act like they're saving black people from this white supremacist. Yeah, but what happened to the previous 300 and some odd white racists that committed a hate crime against black people. Well, they'll plaster all over the news that one white racist that they apprehend before he can commit a crime against a hate crime against black people, right? So the reason why I'm bringing this up again is to say, what else do they carry in their police vehicle? What else? Are they carrying these weapons, these silent sound, manipulating us as we're sleeping? Right? And what is the radius of these weapons? Because we know they're portable, right? We know that they're transportable because they're small. They're smaller now. Just like we know that the NYPD were driving around in white vans with x-ray machines. Just how advanced of the technology are they using that they're having secret? Okay? So, far from necessarily being used as a weapon against a person, the system does have limitless positive application. However, the fact that the sound are subliminal makes them virtually undetectable and possibly dangerous to the general public. In more conventional use, the silent sounds subliminal system might utilize voice commands. Example, as an adjunct to security system beneath the musical broadcast that you hear in stores and shopping mall may be a hidden message which exhorts against shoplifting. And while voice commands alone are powerful, when the subliminal presentation system carry clone emotional signature, the results is overwhelming. Yes, it is. I know. I experienced that last night. And when I got on the bus, basically almost everybody on that bus was looking at me because they knew what was going on. They knew what was being done. And a lot of these people, particularly in the front of the bus, were black women, all wearing black, all black, right? So they, excuse me, excuse me. So they know exactly what it is that they were doing. Okay? Official denials of the U.S. government. In fact, the U.S. government has denied or refused to comment on mind-altering weapons for years. Only last year, U.S. News and World Report ran an article titled "Wonder Weapons," basically a review of the so-called non-lethal or less than lethal weapons. Not one word about S Squad, although the technology have been used 6 years earlier. Excerpts from the article read, says Charles Bernard, a former Navy weapons research, as I said, weapon, right? And then I gotta get my spitting sound as soon as I hit that button here. I have yet to see one of these ray gun things that actually work. Yeah, come on, we know it. You're a damn liar, because they're going to deny every damn thing. That's what they do, right? But guess what? They can't deny it no more. I mean, they did at first when those CIA agents, those spies, were hit with sound weapon. Okay, they said no such weapon exists, and they don't believe the diplomats or they're spies. Okay, that's just to show you how they are willing to throw their own under the bus to keep these weapons a secret. And then the shocker is that after months, where you start to see these agents and these diplomats develop serious psychological and neurological damage, as well as physical damage. Okay. And when they look at their brain scan and they saw certain things that should not be happening at their age, then they were like, yeah, okay, it's some type of directed energy weapon, some type of sonic weapon, right? After denying it, but has things changed? Because in the late 60s, when the U.S., when the CIA, I should say, realized that the American embassy in Moscow was being microwaved by the Russians, they didn't move their employees out of the American embassy. They let it happen for 10 years, a decade. And and you can go look at the Freedom Information Act section on the CIA website and look for that document. Okay? Some of the diplomats died of cancer. Some of the women became sterile, unable to reproduce. They all had a host of psychological issues. And the U.S. security agencies let it go on for a decade. And if it wasn't for Congress, they would have had it went on for another decade. Okay? And we see today that things haven't changed. But what has changed is that we now have a police department like the New York Predator Department who have an unlimited funding, right, from the private sector into bank accounts that's not beholden to the public scrutiny, right? The city cannot audit that account because it's from private donations. And then we see New York police officers traveling to Israel for training. Now, why is the city of New York Police Department, Predator Department, I should say, sending its officers to Israel for training? And you don't think that these people in the police department, these predators, right, don't have the spyware? What is the name of it? Pegasus? Yeah, Pegasus. The Pegasus spyware software. And how many phones have they downloaded on? Right? And again, you won't even know because you don't have the technical knowledge or skills to look and to see if your phone is infected. I don't have the technical knowledge, but I know it is. I know when certain apps are open on my phone. That has to do with my targeting. Again, hear the spitting sound. When I say certain apps are open on my phone. So words like open to, like we open up an investigation, we close an investigation. If you stay in your apartment, don't come out, we close the investigation. Again, this is how they try to get you to isolate yourself. And particularly me being the TI who's very vocal, who's out there almost every day recording my target and how they weaponize the community and its members against me, targeting me, spreading their slanderous lies and rumors, right? But they're not telling these people how they manipulated me, how they drugged me, how they tried to change my personalities in ways that could have yielded deadly results, not just for me, but for others. They're not going to tell them that. They're going to say, oh yeah, he's crazy. because the people who they have working within these predator department that masquerade as law enforcement agencies, they have psychiatrists, and their psychiatrists are racist. They are of also the dog tribe personality types. This is why when officers commit crimes, right? Why is it that these psychiatrists and these predator department agencies, these law enforcement predator department agencies, why don't these psychiatrists say, this individual is not fit to be a police officer? But what they'll tell these racist, crooked cops is that, your job is stressful. You're going out there in the jungle. It's you against them. And when they say you against them, they basically mean you against black people and them against you, because I can't, you want to call me crazy? Fine. Right. But how do you make excuses for police officers who constantly plant drugs on black people? How do you make excuses for police officers and DA who frame black men, and then even when they have evidence that, to free these individuals, they sit on the evidence and do nothing and watch these men and women get convicted? And these are black men and women, by the way, get convicted of crimes they didn't commit. As I say, get convicted. Yeah. Right? So again, when you look at the system, it's unbelievable. And then if you talk about being psychologically manipulated, particularly if you're a black person, they're not bringing that up. But if you're white, they will. The first thing they said about this main shooter, oh, he was suffering from mental illness. But you don't hear that if a suspect that committed a crime was black. So even when they commit some of the worst atrocities, oh yeah, they have a mental illness. Okay. And again, I'll say this, I feel, saddened for this individual. I mean, he was in the military. He was serving his country. And the people that run these agencies don't give a damn about these individuals, the soldiers, the young men and women they sent to die, fighting their wars, right? Their manufactured wars. Okay? While they sit comfortably in their chair, they get to go home to their family, and these men and women are out there fighting for their greed, because of their greed and their need for power and control and domination. And then you have soldiers come back, right? Who, as I said, soldiers come back. I hear. Yeah, well, welcome back. It's constant. Oh, we're gone. Oh, we're back. Whenever I do these videos and talk about it, they're back. Whenever I go outside, they're back. Again, it's meant to psychologically manipulate you into isolating yourself. Okay? Because they want you to be removed from the society because they know what they've done to you. And like I said, they know that you are the evidence for their crime. Right? And as I said, evidence, again. Right? And as I go to hit the button, I hear. Right? So they know this. So they have to make you look crazy. Right? They have to make you look crazy because they done spread all these rumors about you. They done try to set you up or have set you up. And the fact that you're not kowtowing to their demands, to their coercive control. And as I said, to their coercive control. right? So they're not, and they're gonna keep doing it, like I said. But I have my sound effects, and as a matter of fact, I got to get a couple more, right? So again, they want to remove you as a TI target individual or a victim of non-consensual human experimentation and a victim of coercive psychological manipulation and coercive warfare. They have to get rid of you. If they can't do it by manipulating you into committing an act of violence, like what we saw with the main shooter and many other uh, individuals who've committed some of these gross crimes, and some of them are victims themselves. Okay, you know, then they will engage, like I said, in this heavy-handed coercive control, using the police as a intimidation uh, tool, right? To again keep up their lie. To as Dr. Ray Higgins said, it's like when they've been teaching this lie for so long, they have to keep it up, and they will use all and every method in order to do it. And he was talking about religion, right? When he was speaking, but you can also apply it to other things, such as what I'm talking about here today. Okay, so that's overwhelming. Let's see here. All right, so DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, has come to us every few years to see if there are ways to incapacitate the central nervous system remotely. And again, you look at my injury, my back injury. I talked about this early on in my targeting. I had no idea what was going on, but the lower half of my body, and as I was talking about here, see, they don't like me talking about certain things. So at the time, what I was experiencing is called from vibrational acoustic weapons, in which the lower half of my body, my waist, would vibrate violently. So um, you guys, here's an example, right? If you take, and you guys can do this, if you take your cell phone, right, just put it, if you have a pants on with a belt, or just take a belt, put on around your waist, take your cell phone, put it on vibrate, right? And then another phone, call your phone and feel that vibration. Well, the lower half of my body used to vibrate like this all the time. Not kidding you. To the point where, and this is back in 2002, right? That time, the mass rollout of cellular phone. And at times I would, be grabbing my my waist for my, usually you have to have these little pouches that the belts go through so you can put your phone in. And every time I would grab my hip to get my phone, I didn't have my phone on me. Okay, my phone would be somewhere like on a countertop or on a table or a TV stand, what have you. But it never dawned on me, and it should have. I should have said to myself, "Why is my lower half of my body vibrating like this?" Okay, and the reason why I never asked myself those questions, it was because of silent sound. The ability to take away your critical thinking skills, the ability to make you not aware, okay, is what they can do with this technology also. All right. And it continues. It still happens today, just not as frequent, but it still happens today. All right. So Dr. F. Terry Hambeck, head of the Neural Prosthesis Program at NIH, that's the National Institute of Health, told U.S. News, but nothing has ever come of it, he said. That is too science fiction and far fetched. Yeah, because, they have to lie. See, they have to lie. And again, they put a lot in the movies that we don't realize that they've developed and they are using. Okay. But as long as they can make you think it's, 100 years from now in the future, in the distant future, not in the near future now, but in the distant future, after you're dead and gone, then these things will exist. No, they exist today. Understand that they have been working on these weapons 70 years ago. Okay. And, you know, uh, let's see here. Where is, okay, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a video. We'll get to this. I am okay. Let's see. Give me a sec here. Let me see something. Where did I thought I had this video up. Because again, I want to prove to you guys that they lie to you. They lie to us. Okay? About technology. They dumb us down, and they have a plethora of ways in which they do these things. Okay? Now, I had posted the video on my Facebook page. Let's see. Trying to find it here. Just give me a sec. Does Facebook remove my video? As I said, does Facebook remove my video? I hear. Okay, that's odd. I think Facebook removed my video, but I know somebody liked the video. Okay, so the video doesn't show up on my Facebook page, but someone liked it, and I just went into the notification, and there you go. I can click on the video. I can see the video, but it's no longer on my Facebook page. Wow. Again. All right. So here is a video.
Electronic mind.
Dr. Jose Delgado and mind control. Okay. Now, I want you guys to pay attention. Sometimes when I share videos, I want you to look at the names, not just the video, but of the YouTube channel name, the author of the articles. These are, oh yeah, see, they know, because now they know what I'm talking about. All right, a lot of the names, right, that when I share videos, right, they're authors, reporters, what have you, article writers. They seem to have the names of people they use in my targeting, right? So name like Kevin, I talk about this young kid I was in my class. We were partnered up with in one of my computer engineering class, and they were using him to target me. Very religious guy, young guy, young guy, right? And the name John, the name David, right? And what else? Who else? And then to a whole bunch of women names, right? Like Pam. Who else? The name Michelle. Just a whole bunch of names. Some of these people I know. Some people I wouldn't say I know, but some people that I've met and have known have those names, right? But these names are specifically used for a particular reason. Okay? And so just pay attention, right? So going forward, when you see me do these videos, again, and you'll see those names. And if I catch it, I'll acknowledge it. Okay? So
control research is not new. A scientific milestone in this area came in the 1960s when Dr. Jose Delgado demonstrated remote control over a charging bull. By connecting a radio antenna to electrodes inserted into the bull's brain, Delgado proved that the animal's aggressive impulses could be thwarted by electronically manipulating the bull's muscle reflexes.
Okay. Now, you guys go and I'm not going to do it. This is homework for you guys. Go and look up the Baltimore Department of Health, right? Research into violent tendencies of young black boys. So in the 1990s, right? And shout out to Dr. Peter Breggin and his wife Ginger Breggin, who has been tirelessly and effortlessly exposing these agendas. Right? There's a video with Dr. Peter Breggin. It's called "In the Minds of Men." You will no longer find it on YouTube, but there is a website called Internet Archive that have the video in its entirety. And in it, he talks about how they, particularly in the black community, what they would do to black community leaders, right? And when I posted that video, right, because I did a video on it, they removed the video and they altered it. They put out a different version, but you can find that original version online, right? And he talks about the stuff, how they were doing all these brain surgery and experimentation on human beings, and particularly on black leaders, right? Because they couldn't understand why these leaders were protesting and rallying up the community, and he was like, these people were given awards, right? They were given plaques. They had names of buildings named after them. They were committing some of the most unspeakable crimes against humanity right here in the United States. But we like to talk about the Nazis, right? We love to talk about the Nazis, but we tend to ignore the very same mindset here in the United States that contribute to the Nazi ideology. Okay? So, all right.
Realize the fantastic possibilities if from the outside we could modify.
So look, as the bill is charging, he's pressing the button and the bill stops.
But the beauty is that now we are...
Right? So, as I said, in the 1990s, they were constantly looking into the DNA of black children to see if there was a marker for violent tendencies. And I always say, no, that's interesting, because the people who commit the most mass killing in America are white men. Right? White men and young white men and middle-aged white men. Okay, but they're not doing research looking for any DNA marker that contribute to uh, mass murderers or serial killers, because that's who the vast majority of those people who commit those acts of violence are: white men, white boys too. Okay.
Are not using electrodes.
In recent years, Delgado has shown that the behavior of monkeys can be altered using low-power, pulsating magnetic fields. But in these experiments, there were no antenna implants.
Okay. Hear what he said. They can alter the brains of the monkeys, their behavior, their thinking, using low power electromagnetic field. No wires, no implants, right? Because they've done enough research to know what frequency they can induce to what particular area of the brain to get the desired effect that they want. Okay? There's a reason why kids today have difficulty with attention. There's a reason today why every one of us, our memory, have been greatly affected. There's a reason why we are becoming more of a docile society in terms of the population of people within the United States. And yes, you may have some of these violent outbursts, such as, these mass shootings. And also, you notice this year that probably we had probably the most amount of mass shooting on records. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. Okay. I haven't looked at the statistics yet, but it could be. All right. There are things being done to manipulate us. And particularly as a black person, when I look at black people in the black community, and the communities black people live, and things are getting worse. Though we think things are getting better because they have us in a highly delusional state of believing. All right. And what have you seen over the last 2 decades? The introduction of drugs. And drugs is a big part of a key part in terms of manipulating people's mind. Okay. And I'll get more into that in the presentation that I'm going to give. All right. Hopefully I'll remember and stay focused and try to stay focused. I got to order some more of my focus gummies because I ran out of it. So, when I order, hopefully I'll be focused. Right. But yeah, no wires, no implants, just silent sound.
Function in the brain, emotions, intellect, personality, could be perhaps modified by this non-invasive technology.
Delgado's research has so far been limited to animals. But in the Soviet Union, a radio frequency, or RF device, has been used for over 30 years to manipulate the moods of mental patients.
Okay. So, where was I?
There's one simple vision hack anyone can use to improve vision, so you can say goodbye to your optometrist for good. Did you know that vision impairments have nothing to do with your...
Okay. So after I closed that YouTube browser, what was that commercial on something to do with the eye, right? So as I close that commercial here, right? Meaning, of course, like I talk about remote neural monitoring They seeing through my eyes what I see, they see. And again, I'm not making this up. All right. Like I said, if anybody wants to really truly understand what's going on, okay, they might be a targeted person where you live. Pay attention to police sirens, particularly if it happens in short bursts. And as I said, that pay attention to car horns, right? The frequency of the police sirens, the frequency of the car horn, because at times, in the space of a few minutes, right, or even let's say an hour, where it's constant, it's never letting up. Okay, that is when you know that there's someone in your neighborhood that is a targeted individual. Okay, where was I? Where is that? There we go. Okay, so non-lethal weapons using psychotronics. The idea behind non-lethal weapons is to incapacitate the enemy without actually killing them, or in the case of riot control or hostage situation, to disable the participant without permanent injury, preferably without their knowing it. The electromagnetic mind-altering technology would all fall into this class of weapons, but since they are all officially non-existent, who is to decide when and where they will be used? All right. So again, you know, the active denial of these weapons existing. All right. Even when American diplomats again were hit with these kinds of weapons, the lie of the U.S. State Department, the CIA, the FBI, they know, because in the 1990s, the FBI wanted to use one of these weapons on David Koresh, to put voices in his head to give him to make him give up. And again, it wouldn't be somebody else's voices; it would be his own inner voice. Right? That's what silent sound does. All right. So I'm going to end this here. As I said, I'm going to end this here. Police sirens. Well, like I said, you know where I live. Come see me. Bring a warrant. So let me again show you guys, and this is a doozy. This is a doozy. So I'm going to end this with this, right? Here you have a news report, right?
Ed, yeah, so down this roadway, Capitol Avenue, is where Main Recycling is at, and that is where Robert Card used to work, and that is where Robert Card's body was found at 7:45 tonight. Police sources telling our sister station WMTW that his body was actually found in a dumpster. Now that opens up so many questions.
It certainly does. His body was found in a dumpster next to where he worked. Right? And again, this was early. Right? This was early. So you know there were people around. Why didn't anybody call the police about a gunshot sound or a gun being fired? All right? Well, you know, maybe they did. We don't know, because the police are not giving any detail. And why aren't they giving any detail? Right? Why aren't they giving any detail? Why do they sit on, you know, information that is not classified? You know, he was found in the dumpster of self-inflicted wound. Did anybody call to say, hey, we heard gunshots? So when she said, yeah, opens up a whole host of questions, it certainly does. Now let me fast forward this to, I believe it was Hold on here. Let's see.
Or confirmed. What time did you see all of that police activity?
When we saw all the police cars and trooper vehicles coming here, it was about...
No, look at her eyes. Look, at this point. Look at her. All right? At this, right here, the hijacking of our conscious mind. Okay? Now, we've seen news reporters glitch out, right? And when we say glitch out, meaning that they start to exhibit very strange, uncontrollable behavior. They have no idea of what is happening to them, right? That's what we say when we say, what we mean when we say they glitch out. Because they literally glitch out. Okay, let me just do this. Take that off. Huh. All right.
9:40.
9:40.
Okay, and now look, see her. See now her eyes just kind of come back down. So again, it's for those who are target individuals. We can recognize these things, right? We can recognize these things. So when she's looking up, what in my mind, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? I'm thinking that silent sound. Silent sound, right? Satellites. Okay. Silent sound uses the same communication method in which NASA talks to astronauts in space. Same technology. Okay. Except when it's applied in the mind control form is through the hijacking of our consciousness. We all have, just like we have distinct fingerprints, no two fingerprints are alike. I mean, there's rare occasion where someone may have the same fingerprint, but our consciousness is our unique individual identifier. And they can identify who you are through your consciousness. They have been able to map the brain. Okay. And again, you have to go do the research on that, to which that they can identify you through your consciousness, your conscious mind. Okay. And, just heard as I talk about identified through the conscious, let's talk about identified through the conscious mind. Okay. And the reason why they do this, because when I expose these things, and particularly this is why they hate when I do videos in this format, to show you guys so you guys can see. See, they love it when I'm outside. Well, not saying they love it. They don't like it, right? But they can always say, well, that's just, he's crazy. Look what he's doing, blah, 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 right? Even though I do get at times some very good gems that they cannot, they cannot dispute. And that is when you'll start to see a lot of police sirens. I start to experiment a heavy dose of police intimidation tactics, right? And to try to get me to not record, to not upload my videos. Like, for example, after I just recorded some good gems that they've given me, I get a call from Pam. Immediately, I talk about that well-placed phone call. Or I get a call from my ex who lives in Georgia, right? And it's like they're using these two to say, well, we can manipulate their minds so that they can be yours. I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want that. That's okay. You're not going to entice me. Because the one thing I don't do is control people, right? Except for my children, because I need to, because I have to teach them and they have to learn certain things so as they get older, they can make good decisions. Okay? But you're an adult. I don't control you. You're an adult. All right? But this is what they'll do. So when they know as TIs that we can recognize these things, and again, I have basically had to change my personality to what they were trying to do, which is to make me some angry person. And so they love to bring and talk about hate. Like, I hate, and I'm just like, really? I hate the people that hate me, or like that. I dislike the people that dislike me. If you like me, I like you. If you treat me well, I treat you well. Okay? But again, they'll try different things to try to manipulate me into, that whole love your enemy type of BS. So that's what white people have done to black people, right? They are our enemies, no mistake about it. Not all of them, but the vast majority of them. This is why, they put into the Bible, love your enemies. Right? Now because, and we follow that. Because we're the stupid ones. Do you think they love their enemy? Do you think white people love their enemies? Let's go by their history. And they always like to bring up people's history, right? They try to bring up my history, but they don't tell you about the covert war they engaged against me, my twin brother, right? Other TIs. They don't tell you about that. They don't tell you about the psychological coercive manipulation that they've been doing to us. They don't tell you that, right? Of course, because they can always say that, label you as being crazy. Right? Psychology and psychiatry has always been a weapon used against black people. Okay? When Gary Webb, who was a reporter and who blew the whistle on the government involvement in the crack cocaine era, and black people started asking questions, they called the black community paranoid. You don't believe me? Go look up the article. It's available online. Black community called paranoid for showing concerns about the CIA involvement in the crack cocaine era. So like I said, I don't really care about what they call me. And the sad part about it too, my people, black people, we calling each other crazy like it's nothing. We're the only group of people, we're the only group of people who do a lot of negative shit, right? To each other. Women will call black men crazy. Oh yeah, he crazy, right? While ignoring their crazy, right? So they want you to accept their version of their crazy, but they won't accept yours, right? And again, we're not crazy. We're psychologically conditioned into acting and behaving in a dysfunctional manner and thinking in a dysfunctional manner, right? This is, if you tell the black woman she needs to get therapy, she's running to the church. She's opening up her Bible. They're always quoting Bible scriptures while ignoring their reality. That's why you have these trends, manifesting. They manifest shit out of thin air. No, you don't manifest nothing out of thin air. You got to work for it. Okay? Now, if the powers that be think that they can use you as a gatekeeper, yeah, they'll let you, get a little something. Right? But to get up to that upper echelon of the elite, you have to be selected. And I do mean selected. Okay? So, yeah. But anyway, so I just wanted to show you guys this. And let me go back again just slightly. Where are we at here? Okay. All right.
trooper vehicles coming here. It was about
Look at her eyes.
9:40.
9:40.
About 9:40.
It was around that time.
And-
yeah, we were making our way down here around 8:30,
Right,
and then that's
that's
when
right.
making our way down here around 8:30,
Right,
and then that's
that's
when we just started driving around and trying to figure
Sure.
out where they were going, and around that time is when we got word that his body was found.
Just, and you mentioned it during your report, just to fill in again, to make sure I heard it correctly. WMTW was saying that he was found in a dumpster on that location?
Inside of a dumpster. Now, how he got there, we don't know. There are so many questions. Did he climb in and then do what he did? So many unanswered questions right now, Ed, but an alarming detail of this investigation right now. And of course, as you can see behind me, police are still trying to piece it all together.
Right, and hopefully more information tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Apparently the medical examiner is there on the scene, and they have to confirm and do their investigation there, and then more details will be released.
Hence the word we use, apparent, before we say suicide.
Exactly.
Apparent suicide.
Exactly.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. So here's another thing that you guys should pay attention to. As she is speaking, certain words that she's saying, you'll see her look up, right? That eye movement. Okay? Now, you guys may look at it and see something different, but this is what I see. And you can definitely tell that, we're talking about hijacking of her conscious mind, because it looks like she just glitched out. You look at her facial expression. There's that pause. Okay, it's very slight, but you can see it. All right. So again, silent sound. Right. To be able to use technology that can surveil our minds, that can show our brain and see and show every neuron that fires an electrical signal, right? And for the computer to then interpret it. Now, a lot of these things, they don't even need to implant you with. Okay. And again, we're being lied to. They've been trickling down these technologies to make it seem like these things are new, when, as you said, in the video with Dr. Jose Delgado, where he tells you that the news reporter is telling you that 30 years ago they were able to do these things. And this was in the late 60s, and see how advanced that they've got to where now, at that time in the late 60s, they were able to wirelessly control the emotions and behavior of a monkey using low electromagnetic frequency, low emission electromagnetic frequency. Okay, but I'm crazy. Gotta laugh, because it's like, when you truly begin to understand what's happening. And again, I don't talk about the religious aspect, because they're constantly trying to get you to think in that manner to keep you away from the truth, right? And I just said that, keep you away from the truth, and they do the coughing sound. Okay? As long as they can keep you distracted, you will always going to be defeated. Okay? And that's what they want. To control the population, to make you deeply, to make you a religious believer, to have you deeply believe in their religion, which is, again, it's a lie, which is used to distract you. This is why people today, particularly women, and particularly black women, don't like the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. It gives them this feeling of sickness. Just like I was talking about with Pam. Whenever I tell her no, there's a feeling of sickness that she feels, to where, she don't ask me. So now she wants to tell me because she doesn't like it when I say no. And I keep telling her, I says, it's funny how that works, that you don't like it. You get sick when I say no to you, but you can tell me no all the time. You know, you can tell me all these negative things, right? And I'm supposed to just not be affected by it, right? So you tell me that I don't have anything, I'm this and that, all these disparaging names, you're calling me the N-word, right? And you think that's fine. Even though I tell you that you're disrespecting me by calling me the N-word. Right? So, again, they have no problem telling men how they feel. But when we tell them the truth, they get sick. They have this uneasy feeling. They'll even lash out in anger. Why? Because they're conditioned. And how they're conditioned? Through subliminal manipulation. And part of that subliminal manipulation is the use of silent sound, okay, in which they can condition negative emotional response, you know, to certain things. Okay? So, as I say, certain, yeah, I'm certain of what was done to me. I'm 100% certain. So, like I said, I'm ready for this fight. Okay, let's go. Let's go. All right, because again, and what they'll do too, they'll prolong and prolong and prolong until they feel that they've conditioned everyone in my community, in my family, the people that I used to know, the people that I still know. Until they feel that they've conditioned their mind to a point where they become non-reactive to anything that's being said about me. Okay? And on this closing note, go and read, again, the story of Joyce Carol Vinson. How could this young woman lay dead and undiscovered for almost 3 years? Okay? If you really want to understand and start to think critically, read this article. As I said, understand. Okay? Yeah, you really want to understand? Go and read this article from The Guardian. All right? So, that being said, I will speak to you guys on the next Target Individual program, Target Individual Experience.
You must unlearn what you have learned.